Hey everyone. Hello, hello, hello. Can you guys let me know if you guys can hear me okay? How's everyone doing today? Today is February 7th. We are back here again talking about this horrific case. I'm going to wait till someone says yes, they can hear me okay. I see we have Boo Sheet in the house. I'm not sure if she's still here. I'm so glad to see you. Hey, I love you so much. Hey, Crazy Mama, what's up? Good to see you. Grateful Ed says hello, hello. And sounds great. Okay, so I'm gonna wait a couple of minutes, just let people get the alerts. Hopefully YouTube is being a little friendlier with me and letting people know when I go live and stuff like that, since I was gone for so long. So how's everyone doing today? I'm like freezing my ass off right now. It's 56 degrees and that's freezing for me. I'm in Arizona and I'm like, dude, my hands are like icicles. Hey Maria, you made it back. Yes. Okay, so let me see your comment, Maria. Where are you? Where did it go? Okay. I do not know. So there's a lot. I'll just jump into this. So there's a lot going on today for this case. Today at 2 p.m. So right now it's 11 a.m. My time. I'm in Arizona. But at 2 p.m. and I believe Massachusetts is 2 hours ahead of me, I believe. So that's about an hour. In an hour, Lindsay will have her first arraignment. So she's going to have her arraignment hearing today, and she will appear via Zoom from her hospital bed. Of course, her lawyer and the prosecutors will be in the courtroom. I don't know if that's going to be live. That's something I've been trying to see if it will. I don't know if it's going to be live or will we just get snippets from mainstream media after, kind of like how we got the emergency hearing her lawyer had last week. We got little snippets of it given to us by mainstream media. So I'm not too sure, Maria, as of right now, if it's going to be live or not. But trust me, I will be watching for it. So within an hour, I will start looking all over, all over social media to see if it's live. If not, seeing what updates mainstream media is going to give to us. So like I said, today what's going on with this case, so you guys know, at 2 p.m., Lindsay, she will appear via Zoom from her hospital bed, and she is having her arraignment. And this is basically, an arraignment is basically the formal reading of her charges. We know right now she is being charged with 2 counts of murder, but the baby passed away after those charges were first brought to her. So today we will see that 3rd count of murder. I wonder if today will bail be discussed. Another thing I'm interested in is what's her defense going to say? I want to know what he's going to say on his client's behalf. And then one of the main things why I'm really interested in today's hearing is because we may hear from prosecutors more on the details of what happened on that day. We may even hear exactly how the children were killed. So today's hearing is very important. And I'm like, don't worry, guys, I got you. Within an hour, I'll start searching. I see Delana's here. Delana will start searching within an hour to see if this is going to be live, this arraignment, or are we just going to get snippets from mainstream media throughout the day? So either way, if it's live, we'll watch it. If not, we'll see what we can get while we're here. If not, I will always keep you guys updated with my with any case on my community page, or I will make a little short video or something for you guys. So that's what's going on today. So a lot with this case. So I'm going to just say one big hello to whoever came into chat. Thank you guys all for being here with me. If you haven't done so already, can you just hit that like button? It costs nothing. It's completely free, but it does help the channel out. And right now I can use all of your guys' help because I took almost 2 months off of YouTube. I'm not going to get into it, but yeah, I was gone. So my channel has taken a very, it's in the trash right now with, all of that. So if you guys can just hit the like button, I really do appreciate that. So I'm going to just go into the basics of today's case with you guys. And this is mostly for the replay gang. I feel like a lot of you here right now, you guys already know this case. So I just want to kind of just go over basics of it. So I made this last night. Let me just add it to the screen. Again, this took place on January 24th of this year, and this is the Lindsay Clancy case. This case takes place out in Duxbury, Massachusetts, and I just want to apologize. When I made my first video on this, I was saying Duxbury, but then I also was saying Roxbury. I don't know where I got Roxbury from, so I apologize. Once again, I apologize after on that video, but I'm apologizing again. I'm human. I make mistakes, but Duxbury, Massachusetts is where this takes place. Again, this is going to be 32-year-old Lindsay Clancy. She is married to her husband. I'm not sure how old Patrick is, but her husband, Patrick Clancy. They have 3 children. I mean, oh my God, they had 3 children. Wow, that hit me right there in the heart. They had 3 children. Cora, 5 years old, Dawson, who was 3, and then Callan, who was 8 months old. Now, he turned 8 months, if I'm correct, on that Thursday, right before he passed away on Friday. Now, again, Lindsay, she worked at Massachusetts General Hospital. She was on leave during this time when this crime would take place as a labor and delivery nurse. Now, it is being stated that allegedly Lindsay was in an intensive 5 days a week program for postpartum depression. And then it's also being stated that her husband, Patrick, during this time, he was working remotely from home to support her while she was going through this postpartum depression, and also, of course, for the children. Thank you, Crazy Mama. She says, I shared on my Facebook. Thank you. Hey, Nicole Morgan. She says she's listening, but I can't be in chat. Well, I appreciate you just being here. Nicole Morgan has been with the channel since the very beginning, Chris Watts days, so I appreciate you. And then hello, Delana. I see you saying hello, hello. Okay, so let's get into some of the details of the day of the crime. So during the evening, Patrick would leave the home to go pick up some takeout for the family. And now we have learned he did go and pick up some prescriptions from a CVS. So the day of the crime, he left to go pick up takeout. He left his wife home with the children. And he also went to a CVS to get some prescription. He was gone a total between 20 to 25 minutes. Now, this next part I have gotten from multiple different mainstream media outlets. This is what they have stated. But there is still some muddy area around this. I still want more details, but basically he returns home and he sees Lindsay acting erratically, and Lindsay then jumps out of the second story window. We have learned more information from the dispatch call. It seems like Lindsay attempted to slit her throat. We'll get more into that when we listen to the dispatch call. Now at 6:11 p.m., this is when Patrick calls 911. Now, first responders arrive, and then they would find all 3 children unconscious and with obvious signs of trauma. And again, we're going to get into all of that when we listen to the dispatch call. Later that night, Cora and Dawson would pass away in the hospital. And then, of course, Callan, the 8-month-old, he would pass away 3 days later, which is just really, really heartbreaking. Lindsay was taken to the hospital. That's where Lindsay is currently right now, getting treated for her injuries. And she, like I said in the very beginning, she does have her arraignment hearing today via Zoom. She will be in the hospital. Of course, prosecutors and her lawyer will be in the courtroom. We don't know right now if this is going to be live or if we're just going to get snippets throughout the day of what took place. But either way, we will be following up with that. Crazy Mama, I missed you too. I missed you too. It feels really good to be back and talking these cases with you, especially yesterday when we talked about Aiden Fucci. We had the breaking news real quick of him pleading guilty to the murder of Tristan Bailey. And I tell you, when I woke up to that news yesterday and I was like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. I was so shocked by it. And I had to come on here and go live with you guys. And it just feels good to be back in this community again. And my channel, I don't know about other channels, but my channel, I feel like our chats are always smooth. We really don't have no major issues. We don't have drama in here because I don't tolerate the drama bullshit. And I like that we can just come here, talk these cases, say hi to everyone. You guys get to know everyone in here. And it's just like a little family, little friendship here that we have. And I love it. And I have missed you guys. You guys, give me 1 second. My boyfriend needs to come in here. Hold on, guys. Okay, I had to bring the puppy in here. Hold on, you guys. Come here. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Come here. Come here. He's like, we have a new puppy. Oh, you're so cute. He's the toddler of the house. I'm off camera, but he's the toddler of the house. Yes, terrible twos is what we have in the house right now. Okay, go to bed. Come on. Go, go. You're okay. Go. Want to go on the floor? Okay, don't make a mess. You guys, I swear, I'll put him on the floor. He'll get everything. Come here. He'll get everything. Let me give him something. He loves chewing on Crocs. Hey, get out of the trash. Hold on, guys. Sorry. Here. There. And then we have Max outside. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, let me get back to you guys. Okay, sorry about that. Maria, let me see what you're saying. Hey, come here. Hold on, you guys. Sorry. Okay, if you hear heavy breathing, it's not me. I'm holding Milo. Okay, so Maria says, and if anyone on the replay comments about me having my dog, yeah, I'm a dog mom, and it's like having a baby. Okay, some of the Facebook groups are saying she jumped with the baby, and hey, Milo. Oh my gosh. Hold on. Okay, it's like having a kid, you guys. I just let him out, so in a little bit I'll have to go let him in again because no one's out there watching him. So Maria says some of the Facebook groups are saying she jumped with the baby and she hung the older kids and attempted cutting them. Make something I read in those groups. Yeah, I also heard that too, Maria, because I'm in that same group you're in. But again, this is just what people have been speculating on. And from the last live stream, if you guys remember, I told you guys that early on when this case first happened, we really didn't know much information. And someone that I talked to on a regular that I trust, I had just talked to her and I was like, hey, have you heard of this case? And she was like, oh yeah, I was talking to one of the neighbors on TikTok. I know TikTok, right? And I was like, okay. She's like, yeah, but they're saying that she hung the two older kids. And I was like, no way. But then after that, I started seeing a lot of people in the group stating that neighbors were saying that she had hung the children with an exercise band. So again, we don't know what's actually true or not, but that's why today I'm hoping that we get more information of what happened on that day and possibly how the children died. I hope we do so it can kind of like, you know, eliminate some of the stuff that we're seeing in the groups and stuff. Thank you, Vicky. I appreciate it. I'm so sorry, you guys, about all of that. Hey, sweet pea, good to see you. ATS, yes, you guys, if you can hit the thumbs up, I really appreciate it. Psychosis is a real thing. Yes, it is. And it's something that I've just learned about since this case. I will be honest, I didn't even know. I knew about postpartum depression, I've heard of it, but I've never heard of, psychosis. And, I put a documentary on my community, you guys, and it is so eye opener. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and read, we're going to go ahead and read a article, and this is going to go over her lawyer. Her lawyer has been very vocal on her behalf, and I feel like he's already pushing out, the defense and the narrative of that day. So I'm going to go ahead and read this really quick to you guys. And I'm looking at the time just to make sure within an hour I start checking to see if we're going to get if that arraignment is going to be actually live. Hopefully you guys are having a good, what is today? Tuesday, I think it is. Let me, do you hear him? He was crying to get out. Now he's crying to come back in. All right. Do you guys have dogs, puppies? Do any of you guys? If you do, then I'm not alone. You know what I'm going through. He's about over 2 months, I think, 3 months now. I think he is. He's going through the teething stage. So he's trying to, oh my gosh, everything. He loves to get the girls Croc shoes. So there's actually on Amazon a chewing toy for dogs that's a Croc. So we ordered it. Vicky, you're too sweet. Thank you so much. Lynn says that's the link someone posted. What link? What link? What link? Let me scroll up. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Hey, Angela. So Angela says that my mom does business with a guy from Duxbury, and he told my mom that he thought that two of the children were hung. Yeah, that's what a lot of people have been stating. And if you're in the group, a lot of people that were saying it, they were getting their information. It was being passed around from neighbors. So it looked like neighbors were talking about this. And like I said early on from this case, that's what I heard too from someone I trust. She was speaking to a neighbor on TikTok, and at first I was like, no way. Angela, I just let Milo in, you guys. So if you hear anybody, it's him. We have two kitties who are brothers, and both were born without eyes. Lots of work at times. Oh my goodness, you must have your hands full. Well, I'm glad you guys are understanding what I'm going through right now with my creature here. Okay, he's laying down now. He's going to bed. Okay, we can start reading. Okay, so Again, this would be from the New York Post, and this was published on February 3rd. And again, this is going to be from, basically, it's going to go over what Lindsay's lawyer is stating, Mr. Reddington. Now, I do have a question, and this is something I can't really get much information. Who hired the lawyer? Was this the husband, the family? Who hired the lawyer? And also, did he know Lindsay prior to this? Is what one of the main questions I have. But anyways, okay, so Massachusetts mom Lindsay Clancy was over medicated on 12 prescription drugs that were turning her into a zombie and causing her to experience homicidal thoughts that led her to allegedly, and they say strangling, her 3 kids. And this is according to her lawyer. Now, one of the major issues here is the horrific overmedication of drugs that cause homicidal ideation and suicidal ideation, her attorney Kevin Reddington told the Boston Globe on Friday. So basically, what he's stating is that Lindsay was so overmedicated that it was causing her to have homicidal thoughts and suicidal thoughts, that it was the medication that was doing this to her. It was also turning her into a zombie. Now, no overdose. So Lindsay, she did not overdose. They, referring to Lindsay and her husband, Patrick, he's stating that Lindsay and her husband, they went to doctors repeatedly. Okay, repeatedly they went to the doctors saying, please help us. This was turning her into a zombie. And I kind of just want you guys to keep that in the back of your noggin because I do have some questions regarding that. So again, she was suffering so much from being on all of this medication. It was turning her into a zombie, and that, Patrick and Lindsay were both telling the doctors on multiple occasions that there was a problem. In fact, the lawyer even states that they were literally living in hell because of it. Now, the lawyer states that between October and January, so from October to January, Lindsay was prescribed 12 medications. Now, here's the question I also have. So she's prescribed between October and January these 12 medications. I would like to know the weeks prior or even the month prior to what would take place. What was Lindsay actually on? Was she on all 12 medications? I don't think she would be on all 12 medications. Was she on 3? Was she on 4? Was she on 1? I would like to know exactly what medication she was on weeks or a month prior to this taking, or 2 months prior to this taking place, because from this it says that between October and January she was prescribed 12 medications. It never really states in this article, or even what he says, her lawyer, how many she was actually on. So that's just something I'm wondering, exactly which medications was she on weeks or months prior to this happening. But I am not, and this is, I am not one for medication. I am like anti medication. I remember when I was going through chemotherapy, cancer, and stuff like that, they would prescribe me one thing and then I would have a side effect. So then they would prescribe me something for the side effect, and then I would have a side effect from that, and then they would prescribe me another one. And I swore I would end up with a shoebox of medication. And I didn't take anything because I didn't like the feeling of feeling like that, like a zombie. I couldn't do anything. You would even get stuff for, like, too much information, but like even like some of it would cause constipation, and going through chemo and being constipated is like death. It's the worst thing ever. So I just suffered, honestly, through my cancer treatment because I did not want to feel like a zombie. I had 2 kids. I couldn't. Okay, so the lawyer identified 9 of these prescriptions. I'm not going to read them all. You guys can see them on your screen. Let me highlight it a little bit for you guys. So we got stuff like Ambien, lorazepam. You guys can see what they are. So a bunch of different things that she was prescribed. I did look up some of these prescriptions. It was a lot more, some were for depression, anxiety. One of them was for depression. And one of the side effects for it, believe it or not, was it could make your depression worsen. And see, this is exactly why I hate medication. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. So you guys can see some of the stuff that she was prescribed, she had been taking at one time. You're like me, Delana. I take a leave and that's it. Nicole says, clonopin. I don't even know if I said that correctly. She says, it will F you up. Hey, True Crime for All. Hello to you. Crazy Mama says she's dumb writing right now, typing right now. Sweet Pea says Ambien is horrible. So some of you guys know already about some of these prescriptions. So again, these are some of the prescriptions, drugs that she was prescribed, that she had been taking. Again, like her lawyer stated, between last October and January, she was prescribed 12 medication. We don't know exactly what she was on currently, and that's a question I just personally have. Because was she on all 12? I highly doubt that. And I think a lot of people, I've seen a lot of comments where people are thinking she was on all 12 during this time. He never states she was on all 12 at the time, unless I missed that. Again, this is Lindsay. Now, okay, so several of the meds are prescribed for depression, panic attacks, anxiety, and other mood disorders. Again, like I said, one of them is for depression, and the side effect is it can make your depression worse. Oh, yes, Rose, for sure. She says volume is hard. Angela says, I'm sorry for your loss, Angela. She says, after my husband passed away about 8 years ago, I was overprescribed Xanax, among other stuff. I would meet 5 to 6 times. I would meet people 5 to 6 times and introduce myself each time. I took myself off 3 years ago. Well, good for you. Good for you. Here, kitty, kitty. Here, kitty, kitty. You guys and some of your names crack me up. She says antidepressant medication could cause suicidal thoughts. Yeah, and like I said, I was looking up some of the side effects for some of these, and some of the things I also seen were could cause suicidal thoughts. Some were could cause rage. Um, I agree, Crazy Mama. I do think she did need help. It is clear she needed help. Even when you look at some of the, and I have a couple of screenshots for you guys that are being shared from what Lindsay has posted in groups and stuff like that. It's clear she was seeking help, just even if it was on social media, joining these groups, asking for advice. She clearly was needing some help. To me, from the post, I get a mom who's extremely exhausted, but also trying her hardest to stay strong and just stay positive and move forward. Lori says that Ambien is really bad if you take it and don't go to sleep. I have run quite a few 911 calls of people in psychosis after taking and fighting sleep. Oh my goodness, really? So Ambien, what is that prescribed for then? Is that an anxiety pill? What is that? Depression? So if people don't go to sleep on it, is it hard for you to fall asleep when you're on it, or Nicole says sleeping. Okay, so it's to help you sleep. So if people are not falling asleep on it, why is that? Is there something in there that's not, if it's made to help you fall asleep, why are people not falling asleep on it, is what I'm wondering. Oh, well, congratulations, Angela. She says that she has met Chris, not Chris Watts. we have a, and we had my third boy last year. Well, congratulations, congratulations. I love hearing stuff like that. Thank you for sharing that with us. I want to see what people say. Why, if it's made for sleep, why aren't people sleeping? Okay, so Nicole says she takes it. If I don't fall asleep, it makes me anxious. So, do you have a hard time sleeping on it, or does it give you like anxiety being on it? Rose says, I refuse to take any sleep aid. Yeah, they say drink milk, count sheep. They have all those videos on YouTube of like this relaxing stuff. That stuff never works for me. Um, I usually just put something on YouTube, true crime related. I've been loving the free movies on YouTube. I put that and I end up falling asleep. Okay, let me see what Nicole says because I really want to see what she says. Uh, okay, so Nicole says that, and she's talking about Ambien. She says it works for me 95% of the time, but every so often it doesn't work and it makes me super anxious in those cases. Okay, I understand. Sweet Pea says Ambien causes nightmares also. You guys remember when I was going through COVID and I told you guys it was over the counter. I forgot what it was. Oh my goodness. And I took it, and I'm not kidding you guys. I was having like anxiety from it. I couldn't sleep. And then when I did sleep, oh my God, I had the sweats and I was having these horrible nightmares. Oh my gosh, I would never take that again. I forgot what it was, but I was like, what the F is this? No, 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 no. Cassie says that she was prescribed, I'm not even going to try to say it, but she says for her anxiety because she couldn't sleep. She says her anxiety is worse at night, but made me feel like shit the next morning. And see, and here's the thing with a lot of these prescriptions and these meds, and this is why I'm so anti medication, and some people could disagree with me, but I feel like you're prescribed something to treat one thing, but then the side effects can worsen what you're dealing with or add something worse on top of it. And like I said, with me, when I was going through my treatment, I ended up with a shoebox full of medication. Delana says that her cousin said it depends what someone is taking with it. And keep in mind too, so okay, so we don't know exactly what she was taking during this time or the weeks or months prior. Um, a combination of these all together is just not a good cocktail. Okay, so again, several of the meds are prescribed for depression, panic attacks, anxiety, and other mood disorders. Now, Lindsay, again, she's 32 years old. She was on leave as a labor and delivery nurse at Massachusetts General Hospital. I do wonder, when did that leave start? That's another question I had. How long was she on leave prior to this, and why was she on leave? I know the baby was 8 months, but I'm wondering, was this from her pregnancy? I can't remember how long you get for leave. My kids are already grown, so some of you new mamas, let me know. How long do you get to be on leave from after having the birth of your baby? I feel like for me it wasn't long, but I know times have changed, so maybe you guys can let me know. But I do wonder when did she actually go on this leave is a question I do have. Now, again, Lindsay, she leaped out of a second story window of her Duxbury home after allegedly attacking her children. Now, right here, it says that she is being charged with murdering her 5-year-old daughter, Cora, and 3-year-old son, Dawson. It says, and then trying to kill 8-month-old son. And then it says, who later died at the hospital. He passed away 3 days later in the hospital. And again, today she does have her arraignment hearing where we will see the third count of that murder charge. You guys can hear Max. Again, this is her lawyer. People are stating he's a really good lawyer. I'm just wondering who hired him. Did he know Lindsay prior to this or know the family in some way prior to this? And these are just little questions I just have, you know. Again, his name is Kevin Rennington. Now, he identified the drugs that Lindsay was using, and it goes over some of them right here: Prozac, Ativan, and then Trazodone, I believe. Now, again, Lindsay, she had previously shared on social media about her struggles with anxiety as a mom, and she also reportedly suffered from postpartum depression. And then again, this is going to be her lawyer stating this. It's over medication, absolutely over medication, possibly with a component of postpartum depression. So again, he is stating, and that she was so overly medicated with these drugs that it was causing her to have homicidal thoughts and suicidal thoughts, then combined with postpartum depression. So that's going to be the defense they go with. Is I think, and maybe I'm wondering if what he's going to say today, if he's going to say anything today. But I think that's what he's going with, is that she was overprescribed a medication. She was on so many different prescription, and she, her and her husband were telling the doctors, she was like a zombie. They were living in a hell, and that basically because of these medications she was on, it was not having her think clearly, so she should not be held responsible for what she did when she was under the influence of these drugs. That's what they're going with, basically, in a nutshell, of how I take what his statements have been over this article, and also when we watch him actually speak. What do you guys think about that? She was over, and again, we don't know exactly what medication at this time. I feel like a broken record with that, but what do you think? If she was overly medicated, should she be held responsible for what she did? Hey, Roxanne. Here, kitty kitty. She says, I don't think the pharmacist would release all those medications at the same time. Yeah, I don't think she was on all 12 medications. Again, it just says that she was prescribed 12 medications between X, Y, and Z. Like I said, I wonder what she was on during this time right now. Was she on 2 of them, 3 of them? I don't know, but clearly it was making her into a zombie, and she was not happy with it. Or Patrick, her husband. Overly medicated equals high. She probably got addicted. Hello, Lynn. Okay, so she had medical care and treatment on a regular basis, and her husband was very proactive in trying to protect her and help her with the doctor's medication she was prescribed. And again, it's been alleged that Patrick was working remotely from home to help her throughout, her struggles with postpartum depression, and of course to help care for the children. Now, the lawyer, Mr. Rennington, who has hired a forensic mental health expert and toxologist to help build the defense case. And of course, this is going to be Lindsay with 2 of her children. This is going to be 5-year-old daughter, Cora. I'm not sure how old she was in this photo. And then we know that her 3-year-old son, Dawson, look at Dawson when he was a baby. He was so chunky. I just think chunky babies are just super adorable. He just looks so freaking cute. It's so sad that, again, this is an older photo, but one thing I've said multiple times is it's really heartbreaking. Of course, that all children lost their lives, but it's extremely heartbreaking when I think about Cora and Dawson, because 5 and 3, they clearly were aware of what was happening to them. And what makes it worse for me is they knew who was doing it to them. That is just heartbreaking. And of course, this is all three of the children. Oh my God, so cute. See, this is how they looked. So 5 years old, 3 years old. Ugh. Now, they went through hell and they didn't come back. And again, this is coming from her lawyer. Now, Duxbury Police Chief Michael Carbone has said that Lindsay is improving daily at a hospital. You guys remember that article I went over last week? But her lawyer said her injuries have left her unable to walk, though he declined to describe her as paralyzed. So her lawyer is saying that she cannot walk, but not saying she's paralyzed, though. She can't get out of bed. She can't walk. I don't know what the medical prognosis is regarding that, but right now she cannot walk, he told the newspaper. And I mean, she fell from a, 20 foot? It's 20 foot, I believe they said the distance. She is not in good physical shape. She's not in good emotional shape. She is not going to get out of bed and walk out of the room, the lawyer added. And again, Lindsay, she allegedly carried out the shocking attempt murder, unaliving of herself on January 24th after her husband stepped out of their home to pick up a takeout order. And now we have learned he also went to get medication for her at a CVS. I do wonder what Lindsay is saying. And I think that's what we're all wondering. What has she said in the hospital? So this is where it goes up to the CVS discussion. So her lawyer also stated that Patrick also made a stop at a CVS along the way before returning home. He called 911 about 4 minutes after arriving. Oh, I missed that. 4 minutes after arriving. Okay. So he gets home. Okay, so he gets home. He has the takeout, right? And puts the food down, and it has been stated that Lindsay was acting erratically. Everyone's wondering the sequence of events here. Did he put the food down? He see Lindsay inside. She's acting erratically. Did she go upstairs in one of the rooms and then she tried to slit her throat, jump through the window? Like, just the sequence of events we all have questions on, because for the 911 dispatch call, it's being stated that that was mainly about Lindsay, Lindsay unaliving herself. No mention of the children initially. Yeah, and I see your guys' comments. Laurie says each story is 10 feet, so second story would be 20 feet. Yeah. So um, I did find the house on Zillow, so we can look at that in a bit after we go through the dispatch call. And we can see the backyard and the windows, because I'm wondering which window. I mean, these are just things I wonder about, but what window actually it was. Maria, she says she jumped after he came home. I thought he found her in the backyard. So see, and this is a detail that we really don't know. I'm going based off of what mainstream media has constantly put out, that he came home, she was acting erratically, and then she jumped through the window. That's why I'm hoping today we get some information with what took place that day. I'm really hoping we at least learn today how the children actually passed. Hey, Sarah, good to see you. And this is what happens a lot with a lot of cases. When we don't have much from law enforcement, we get what we get from mainstream media, we get what we get from the groups, and we're just trying to piece together everything we hear. Whether, like for me, I take what I hear from law enforcement, I take what I get from mainstream media that says they have a source, I take like the dispatch call, I'm taking what I hear there, I'm trying to piece it together. That's why I'm hoping today they give us some of those pieces for the puzzle. Angela, let me highlight that comment because I In the video I cropped together, I do say that. So let's just add yours. Angela says something that I have been thinking too. She says she's curious to know what she was acting like to make Patrick feel comfortable leaving the kids with her alone. And during the last live stream, I did read an article to you guys where, gosh, I can't remember it was a family member who had spoken with Lindsay a week prior, and they said that she was completely fine. There was no inkling that she was going through anything. And I'm wondering too, if Lindsay was so suicidal as her lawyer is putting out. She had these suicidal thoughts. She was a zombie. She was struggling. They were living in hell. I'm just wondering, and I'm just gonna say it. Why would you leave her alone then if she was going through all of that? And not only that, she was such a zombie. Why are you at a CVS picking up more medication? I don't know. Those are two things where I'm just like, okay, I'm not understanding that. I don't want to blame the dude, but I don't understand that. And I'm just going to say it. Even if she was suffering so bad from these homicidal and suicidal thoughts, I don't care how they're acting that day. I would be, no way. I'm just going to assume and think that maybe she was acting okay. I don't know, you guys. I don't know. And that's the one thing I just can't get, because we're hearing all of this stuff from the lawyer. And at first, when I heard of this case, I felt so bad for Patrick, and I still felt bad for him. But now that we hear all this information of how she was suffering from homicidal and suicidal thoughts, and she was like a zombie, and Patrick and her were going to multiple doctors saying she was a zombie and she was struggling and all of this stuff, then why would you leave the children there? I don't get it. And then you're going to pick up more medication, even though she's a zombie. I'm just not getting it. And I hope I don't offend anybody with that. Sarah says he went to go pick up dinner, her meds, and he might have needed a 30-minute break. Well, I would hope he didn't need a 30-minute break because, yeah, I mean, take the kids with you. Because, again, if she was like that, why are you going to leave the children in her care? Take them with you. And I know it's hard with 3 small children, but still. Let me see what Delana said up front. Laurie says, yes, that's confusing me as well. And I don't want to blame him or anything like that. And I hope I'm not coming across like an asshole. But it is just something, after I heard what the lawyer was stating, it did really just make me think, like, okay, then why? Like, why? But someone said right now, wondering how she was behaving prior to this to make him feel okay to leave the children. Delana, what did you say? Because someone was agreeing with you. I don't know what you said. I lost it. Sarah says he can't be there 24 hours a day. No, he can't be there 24 hours a day. But if he needs to go pick up food, he's working from home. He's going to go pick up food. Again, I'm sorry. If you are married and your spouse is suffering from homicidal and suicidal thoughts, they're like a zombie on this medication, I'm sorry, that other spouse is going to have to man up, whether you're the woman or the man, because that's how it is in relationship, right? When one is down, the other needs to be strong to lift them. And he was working from home supporting her. He left to go get food and prescription. But again, if she's having these thoughts, I just don't understand why leave her with the children. Why leave her with the children? Maybe he just thought she was just like that with herself and not with the children. So that's why he might have left her there, left the kids there with her. I don't know. So I'm going to disagree with you, Sarah, on that one. Angela, was he leaving her for short periods of time? Hopefully she would get back into the swing of things. Angela says she's going to share something with us. She says that she had amazing pregnancies. And wait, I'm going to overshare with you. I had amazing pregnancies and no postpartum with my first two boys, she says, but that wasn't the case with my third. I am finally beginning to feel like myself, and we had him over. Let me see what she says. Over a year ago, I told my husband, and he just didn't understand. He thought that my jogs would help. I explained it's my broken brain, not exercise. He gets it now after learning about this case. Oh, wow, Angela. So this case actually opened his eyes. And this case is how I actually learned about, I mean, I've heard of postpartum depression, but as far as psychosis, I never even really knew about that stuff. So this case has definitely opened my eyes with that one too. Okay, let me see. It's 1:53. Okay. Delana, can you check to see if anywhere, if anything is going on with the arraignment? Can you just go check that for me? Again, we know she's being arraigned today. It is going to be via Zoom for her. She is in the hospital. Of course, her lawyer and the prosecutors are going to be in the courtroom, but we don't know if it's going to be live stream. I haven't seen anybody saying it's going to be live. We know when her lawyer had last week that emergency hearing, that was not live, and that was just given to us throughout the day, snippets of it. So I'm not sure, is this live or are we getting snippets of it throughout today from mainstream media? Okay, let me continue reading this really quick. And again, thank you guys all for being here and discussing this case. Even if we agree to disagree, just, be kind in the chat. Okay, so where did I leave off? Okay, so he called 911 about 4 minutes after. Now, the lawyer told the Globe that Patrick had not been warned by medical professionals to not leave his wife alone with the kids. So I'm guessing that is the reason why he has been why he did leave the kids there. He was not told not to leave them. Hold on, you guys. Oh, wow. This is why I get sidetracked, you guys, when you guys message me. Okay, so I'm just going to say it because I'm seeing it. This has nothing to do with this case. So before I let you guys go, someone remind me to show you guys this. But a photo of Gabby Petito has been released, a photo of her that was captured on her phone. It's been released. Oh my gosh, she's all beat up. Her face is bruised. And oh my goodness, Gabby has cuts and smeared blood on her face. So a photo from Gabby Petito's phone has been released by the Utah's attorney representing the Petito's parents. Give me 1 second, you guys. Sorry. Oh my gosh. Give me 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. I hate to do this. I'm not normally like this, but hold on really quick. JB, hold on. Hold on, you guys. WFLA. And this is just when we do true crime here, so sometimes things happen. Okay, let me just show this to you guys really quick. I'm just going to show it to you guys, and then I'm going to get back to this. But I just want to show you really quick. Can you guys see that? Can you see that photo? So this has been released today. Wow. That's heartbreaking. Yeah, I know. Wow. Oh my gosh. All right. So again, this attorney say the new Gabby Petito photo was taken around the same time as the 911 call responded to the Moab police on August 12th of 21. The photo's timestamp was 4:37 p.m. And you're going to tell me Brian didn't do anything to her? Oh, gosh, Jesus Christ. This is upsetting to see. As far as the blood smear on Gabby Petito's face, Gabby told officers she was cut by a fingernail when Brian Laundrie's. So this is how her face looked when she spoke with law enforcement. She told officers it was a cut by a fingernail when Brian Laundrie allegedly grabbed her. Wow. Again, Gabby, not Brian, was described as the aggressor, alleged aggressor, by officers who responded by separating the couple for the night. No charges. Wow. Okay. Back to what we were reading. Sorry about that, you guys. But we covered that case, and that's just someone just sent that to me and it popped up on my end, so just had to show you guys. Okay, back to this. Oh, that's heartbreaking. I'll let you guys talk about that. Let me continue reading. So again, Patrick was not warned, not by medical professionals, not to leave his wife alone with the kids. And then, not that I'm aware of course not. He loved her. He knew she was a great mother, a fantastic person. Now, meanwhile, her lawyer said he was not abandoning a defense of not guilty by reason of insanity during her expected murder trial. So the black letter law definition of lack of criminal responsibility in Massachusetts says that if a person suffers from a mental disease or defect, they may be found not guilty due to the disturbed mental state, he told the Globe. So again, the black letter law definition, I guess this is something out in Massachusetts, it's a lack of criminal responsibility. It says that if a person suffers from a mental disease or defect, they may be found not guilty due to their disturbed mental state. And again, a photo of Lindsay and Cora. And then, of course, all Lindsay, Patrick, Cora, and Dawson. Such a beautiful family. Now, again, today, and Delana, I think she was checking, not sure. I'll check after I read this. So today what's taking place is Lindsay, she's expected to make a Zoom appearance in Plymouth District Court for her arraignment. Again, she will be in the hospital at 2 p.m. So it should be 2 p.m. I believe right now. Let's see. And again, he told the news outlet he plans to raise the issue of Lindsay being over-medicated at this hearing. Okay, so that's what he's going to tell the judge. Is that she was over-medicated at the hearing and asked the judge to not make her await trial as the state prison for women. Let's see. The lawyer said he'll ask if the woman could be kept at her parents' home with a GPS device. So instead of having to go to jail, he's asking if she could be released to her parents with a GPS device. Or be in a health facility. Again, this is Cora. This is all 3 children, and then Patrick. He also stated, the lawyer, that Lindsay has not been able to be allowed to speak with anyone on the phone, including her husband and her parents. And this is something a lot of us were wondering, has she spoken to her husband? What is she telling him? But it looks like she hasn't been allowed to speak to her parents or husband or have visitors over, other than, of course, her medical professionals, social workers, and, of course, her previous lawyer. So the lawyer said that when he visited the couple's home, the mail that so remember how Patrick left to go get takeout? He says that the mail Patrick had picked up was still sitting in its container on the dinner table. Oh, fuck, that's so sad. That is so sad. Okay, what are they showing it on? Anybody know? Is it on YouTube? I'm just seeing your guys' comments. YouTube. Let me go to YouTube. Hold on. Does anybody know what channel is showing it? Not channel, but news station. Is it going to be shown? Does anybody know? Boo, where are you seeing it at though? What news station is showing it? Let's see. Boston 10. NBC 10 Boston, is that who you're talking about? I don't think I'm on the right one. Does anybody have a link? Delana, do you have a link for this? Let me, hold on, you guys. I'm trying to find it. I don't see it on YouTube. It's being on there, so I'm not sure. Okay, hold on. Let's see. Let me go on. Give me a second. Yeah, I don't see it. I don't know where she's talking. I don't see it on YouTube anywhere. I'm going to try going on Facebook. Give me a second. And I'm still here, you guys. I'm just trying to find to see if they're streaming it live. Boo says they are, but I don't see it on here. So let me see if it's being shared on Facebook. Usually it is. Okay, thanks, Delana. I don't see it on YouTube. Okay, so here's the link, live coverage. Okay, let me click this. Boston 13. Okay, hold on. Let me look up her name. Boston 10. Crazy Mama, can you share the link right here in chat? It should let you share the link. Can you do that for me if you see it? Okay. Boston 10 audio is shitty, you guys. I'll replay it, you guys. Hold on. This Boston 10's audio is horrible. Because, yeah, it's shitty. Yeah, you see it keeps freezing on somebody else's. Yeah, it's horrible. Come on, Boston 10, get it together. I have the Boston 10 one, but the audio is shitty. Okay, well, I'm not going to stream somebody else's. I'm looking to see if other than Boston 10 has a good other news station is what I'm looking for, because Boston 10 is shitty, you guys. It's not my audio, it's Boston 10's. It keeps lagging. Boston 10, so she's showing Boston 10 too. Yeah, Boston 10 is shitty. Even Boo said it's lagging. Is only Boston 10 the only one showing it? Okay. Okay, hold on, you guys. Let me see. Yeah, you guys, I don't like saying other creators' names in my chat because then everyone's gonna go there. um, yeah. So let me try something. I'm just gonna look for something other than Boston 10 because, yeah. What is going on here? It's okay, Boo. Don't worry. Don't worry. I'm gonna try to find. Oh, Can you guys hear me okay? I don't know. It totally kicked me off of my own stream. I don't know. Okay, hold on, you guys. Bear with me. Let me know in chat. Can you hear me? I went on the Boston 10 one, and the audio was so laggy and horrible. And then it completely kicked me off of my own stream, which StreamYard did. I have no idea. So let me try to get back on there on my computer. Okay, you guys can hear me okay? Okay, so hold on. Let me try this again. I don't know what the fuck just happened here. Hold on, you guys. I mean, it wouldn't be a live stream. It wouldn't be a live stream with some kind of tech difficulty. So bear with me, you guys. We'll get through it. Let me see what's going on here. Let me try this again. Does anyone, though, have anything other than Boston 10 by any chance? You're searching Crazy Mama? Okay, thank you. Okay, so I'm going to try this again really fast. Give me a second. All right, hold on. Let's see. You have the link, Lori. Is it Boston 10, the link you have? I was listening to it too, NECN on Facebook. Okay, do I type that up on Facebook? NECN network. Okay, I'm gonna try it again. Hold on, you guys. Thank you guys for bearing with me. Sorry about this. We end up getting it. Sooner or later, we'll get it. Okay, so here's the link for the live coverage. Let's click this. All right, it's loading.
In the defendant's home pursuant to a search warrant, and also notes on her phone that were similar to journal entries. In the months, weeks, and days preceding January 24th, 2023, the defendant meticulously detailed her daily activities, her children's lives, her mental state, and her medication use. The presence of her husband, that by psychiatrists, that she did not have postpartum depression and that she had no symptoms of postpartum depression. She wrote in her journal that at times she had suicidal ideation in December of 2022. And she also told her husband that she had suicidal thoughts and on one occasion had thoughts of harming her children. But she did not write or voice those thoughts after a stay at McLean Hospital. When she had those thoughts, she consulted with a psychiatrist and with her husband, and then she committed herself to McLean Hospital on January 1st, 2023. She was discharged by the hospital on January 5th, 2023. And the hospital did not file any paperwork at that time attempting to have her committed as a danger to herself or others. She also kept meticulous and detailed daily medication logs in a diary that she wrote. She detailed that she had difficulties with each of the medications that were prescribed to her. And when she had issues with those medications, she detailed how her doctor had her stop that medication or wean off of it and then try something else. They were trying different medications to see what would work for her, what would benefit her. According to her husband, she was never on more than 4 to 5 medications at one time. And at the time of the murder, she was taking only 3 medications. And he said to the police that she always took the medications as prescribed. After her stay at McLean, the defendant appeared to be getting better, according to her husband. She slept well, interacted with friends and family. She went out with her kids and husband to places like the Kingsbury Club in Duxbury, the Charlie Horse Restaurant, the Museum of Science in Boston, the Cape Codder down the Cape, interacting with her family and the public without any apparent difficulties. She even stayed alone with the children on several occasions without any issues in January of 2023. Her husband asked her in mid-January, "Are you still having suicidal thoughts?" And she said no. The defendant's parents visited the family the weekend of January 21st, 2023. They interacted with the defendant in person. The defendant was able to run errands while her mom watched the children. She texted back and forth with her mother, and there was nothing out of the ordinary about these text messages. In fact, the defendant texted her mother on January 22nd, 2023 to ask how her ride home went. During this conversation, the defendant's mother wrote, quote, "Enjoyed seeing everyone this weekend. Nice to see you doing better," end quote. On the night of the killings, Patrick Clancy was interviewed by the police at Beth Israel Deaconess Plymouth Hospital. He told the police that the defendant was having one of her best days. She was smiling and happy, and there was no indication that she was going to harm the kids. No one at all described her as acting like a zombie in the days leading up to the murder or on the day of the murders themselves. On February 5th, 2023, this past Sunday at 1:35 p.m., while sitting with Dr. Paul Zeisel, the psychologist hired by defense counsel to evaluate her mental state, the defendant used Dr. Zeisel's cell phone to call her husband. She left a voicemail stating that she loved him. Yesterday, on February 6, 2023, at 10:09 a.m., she again used Dr. Zeisel's cell phone to call her husband. This time he answered, and during this call, the defendant stated that after he left the house that night, she killed the kids because she heard a voice and had, quote, "a moment of psychosis," end quote. He asked her what voices she heard, and she said she heard a man's voice telling her to kill the kids and kill herself because it was her last chance. Patrick Clancy told the police the defendant had never heard voices before. He also told the police the defendant had never used the word psychosis to him before. The first time she used that word psychosis was when she was with the doctor hired by defense counsel and using his cell phone. The defendant actually wrote a note on her phone on October 25th, approximately 3 months before this happened, October 25th, 2022. She wrote, quote, "I think I sort of resent my other children because they prevent me from treating Cal like my first baby. And I know that's not fair to them. I know that. I was feeling so depressed last evening when Cora and Dawson came home from school. I know it runs off on them, so we had a pretty rough evening. I want to feel love and connection with all of my kids." She then wrote that she wants to have more kids eventually. The children were killed by ligature strangulation. Ligature strangulation causes the victim to become unconscious anywhere from 10 seconds up to a minute. The more the victim struggles, the longer it takes. After the victim is unconscious, the ligature must be held in place with force, squeezing the neck for up to an additional 4 to 5 minutes to cause death. Therefore, she had to strangle each of them to unconsciousness and then make sure the bands were squeezing their little necks for several minutes. She could have changed her mind at any point during that time and removed those bands from their necks, and she did not. The defendant did not take advantage of the situation when her husband left the home that night. She created the situation, and she used Apple Maps to make sure she would have enough time to strangle each child before her husband returned from where she had sent him. The defendant is a danger to herself and others. She planned these murders, gave herself the time and privacy needed to commit the murders, and then she strangled each child in the place where they should have felt the safest. at home with their mom. She did so with deliberate premeditation and extreme atrocity and cruelty. And to supplement what the defense counsel's provided, I have a statement I feel I need to file with the court. And the domestic violence court. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. Attorney Reddington.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. Your Honor, my request is that the court not enter what I would suggest is an inhumane order, ordering this woman to be incarcerated. We all know, as people that work in the system, that jails and prisons are woefully deficient in medical care of the most basic type. We all know that this is an individual, as Your Honor knows from Dr. Ricard's letter, who is in dire medical condition. We all know that this woman is, as counsel concedes apparently, a danger to herself. I question whether she would ever make it to a trial. She's suicidal. She's extremely emotional. However, she's unable and has been unable to express any happiness or sadness or cry. And in fact, sometime about a month or two ago, she made the comment, "I just wish that I could feel something." Now, our society fails miserably in treating women with postpartum depression or even postpartum psychosis. It's medicate, medicate, medicate. Throw the pills at you and then see how it works. If it doesn't work, increase the dose or decrease the dose. Then end up trying another combination of medications. We're talking a relatively short period of time from when that baby was born in October up until January, when this incident occurred, Your Honor, that she was on such significant dosage of medication. Your Honor knows that Cora was born in 2017. It was a very uneventful, normal pregnancy and delivery. No issues afterwards as far as anxiety. Dawson was born in 2018. Again, it was a normal birth. She had no significant issues as far as anxiety. She did have to have stitches and she was sore, and that was about it. Then, of course, Callan was born. When Callan was born, she ended up becoming depressed, suffered from significant anxiety, as a result of which she consulted with a number of doctors. A number of doctors indicated that she would be able to sleep, she would be able to feel, she would be able to emote once these medications kicked in. And again, as I say, our medical in our society completely abandons women with this condition. It's easy to say, come on, you have a healthy baby. You have a wonderful husband. You're able to take care of your kids in your home. You're lucky. Take the pills, you'll be okay. Well, they put her on a number of medications. They put her on Prozac, which Your Honor is well aware is what's known as SSRI, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor. Your Honor knows that along with some of these medications, they have the black box warning from the FDA, may cause suicidal ideation, may cause homicidal ideation. She was on Ativan. She was on Benadryl. And then she ended up being told, okay, because she was complaining about the effects of the Prozac, they said, stop the Prozac, we'll find something else. They put her on Remeron. Then they added on Seroquel. And Your Honor, I attached from David Benjamin, the toxicologist, some papers with the submission, and Your Honor can see the side effects that this Seroquel causes. She was having bad thoughts. She was having worsening depression. Her husband suffered through that phase. Her parents were well aware of the fact that she was suffering from this depression and depressive phase. She wasn't sleeping. She ended up, at some point, Your Honor, December 31st, she was on Seroquel. They told her then the Valium would be stopped. She was a shell of herself, no personality, and went to the doctor again. The doctor again prescribes the Seroquel, and then they took her off the Seroquel. And then she went to the doctor, and at that point, they prescribed Trazodone, Ativan, amitriptyline, right up to the very end when she was so bad that she voluntarily turned herself in, if you will, to the McLean Hospital. We know that that's a psychiatric hospital. She was at the McLean Hospital for a period of about 5 days. While at the McLean Hospital, they basically tried to get her off the Seroquel. She wanted to get off the benzodiazepines. She felt that she was being addicted to the benzodiazepines. She then ends up on trazodone, Ativan. Her mood was terrible after she got out of McLean Hospital. She still had the suicidal thoughts. As the government has indicated, she even told her husband that she had suicidal thoughts. You think this is something that she's planning to kill these 3 kids by going and getting a menu, going onto Google Maps or whatever it is, and finding out the distance? When she tells her husband she's having suicidal thoughts, probably a month prior, thoughts of hurting her children, they go to the doctor again, and she's on the medications, on and off, on and off. This is a significant issue between the postpartum depression as well as possibility of postpartum psychosis that is pretty much ignored. But nevertheless, with the overlay of the SSRIs and the history, and Your Honor has some emails and things that people would reach out to me from all over the world, indicating that their daughter had the same problem, that they had the same problem. Your Honor is well aware that many times when people are on Prozac or on SSRIs, workplace violence, homicides, family homicides. This is clearly a tragic, which is a word that's used too much in the criminal justice system, but this really is a tragedy, this case. So we have, obviously, I would suggest, a very good defense for this young woman. She's 32 years of age, Your Honor. She met her husband. He was the love of her life. They got married. Wonderful young couple. And as counsel noted, she always wanted to have kids, always wanted to have babies. She's a nurse. She went to be a midwife because she wanted to help other women that would be in having babies, but didn't want to have all the medications. She was not a big medication person. Your Honor saw, I think there's probably close to 50 letters that have been submitted to you, and I know you read every one of them. The incredible outpouring of support by other nurses that work at Mass General Hospital. The fact that these women have a vigil, that they write the letters to this court imploring you to understand that you sentence, as far as bail issue, the woman before you, who was a beautiful person, who was thoroughly destroyed by these medications. That's for another day, obviously. A bail issue, bail argument. Your Honor is well aware under Commonwealth versus Vasquez at 481 Mass 750, Supreme Judicial Court indicated that this court, or the court, has vested in sound discretion of the bail judge. And the main considerations would be obviously the usual bail considerations: nature and circumstance of the offense, likelihood of success on the defense, roots in the community, and of course, as in Vasquez case, as well as Commonwealth versus Herring, 489 Mass 569, defendant's risk of flight. So now you have a situation, Your Honor, where this woman has incredible support, as you saw, letters from Foxborough that was signed by about 15 women, letters from her family, friends, letters from people she's known since the 6th grade that have stayed in touch with her. One thing that's a theme that is readily apparent is that Lindsay loved her children, that she would always, one of the letters said, she would always rub her belly, rub her belly. She had pictures of her pregnant standing next to Patrick, hanging on the wall. I was in the house. The house is absolutely loaded with indicia of love for those kids. Photographs on the wall, little drawings, all sorts of games, toys, playpens, bassinets in the living room, in the dining room, the kitchen loaded with toys. Virtually the entire house, including their master bedroom. Toys, things for the kids. This is not a situation, Your Honor, that was planned by any means. This is a situation that clearly was a product of mental illness. Now, under the Vasquez case, one of the issues, as I said, is whether or not there's a risk of flight. Now, I did submit to Your Honor a letter that was written by her physician, her attending surgeon, Nakul Rekha. And this doctor was in surgery until 8:30 at night and actually took the time to write this letter for you to review. And I just want to make note that he makes reference to the fact that she is now in her 12th day of hospitalization following admission on January 25 after a 20-foot fall. She suffered, unlike when the government Friday was saying that she can move her legs and she's getting better, she's okay. No, she's not okay at all. He indicates that she suffered several severe spine fractures, including spinal cord transection. You know what that means. At the level of T5, T6. As you know, she had surgery for this from the orthopedic spine surgical service who performed a decompression infusion. Unfortunately, she is not expected to recover meaningful function at this point below that level of the spinal cord, which makes her a paraplegic, unable to move her legs or feel sensation from below her, he refers to umbilicus or belly button. He says she has no function below this level. Additionally, less active issues include rib fractures in the chest, both sides cervical spine fractures, necessitate the wearing of a collar around her neck due to the cervical spine fractures. She's paralyzed. The doctor indicates that she needs significant medical treatment. Doctor recommends that she would be discharged to Spalding Rehab. Now, you know that we have Spalding Rehab. You know that we have the Worcester Hospital. This court is vested under Vasquez with your authority to have this woman not held on bail, perhaps put a GPS on her, I guess, if someone's concerned that she's going to miraculously recover, which isn't going to happen. As your Honor knows, being a paraplegic, paralyzed, she can't move, can't get off the bed, she can't walk, she can't even go to the bathroom. She has to have 24/7 medical care. Her emotional state is so bad that there is a significant fear of suicide. She has to have someone sit in the room 24/7 to watch her. They don't talk to her. They're not, chatting it up. They just sit there and watch out of that concern that she would commit suicide. So you have a paraplegic who can't walk, who is definitely a danger to herself, and the government wants to put her in where? Framingham State Prison? Plymouth House of Correction? There's no way that any humane person would do that, especially within the structure of our criminal justice system, where a person is presumed innocent. And I'm not suggesting with the facts that the government has read, but she has a good defense. She's got a darn good defense to this case, because that's what happened. And I just want to share with you, Your Honor, one of the things that's interesting. When I was in the House, I came across a drawer that had a bunch of pill bottles in it. And I called the DA and I said, I got these pill bottles. And we made arrangements. I'm going to be giving them to them. And it's all the Prozac and the Trazodone and all that stuff. But inside the drawer was this little vase. And I didn't know what it was. It just looked like a little vase to me. And my wife said to me, oh, that looks like a wish vase. I said, what's a wish vase? She said, when people write down little wishes and they put little pieces of paper and they put them inside the vase. And there are literally dozens of these little pieces of paper that talk about Lindsay's wish for happiness and health for her children, that she could get pregnant again, that she would be able to be with her children, little Callan, Dawson, Cora, that they would be happy, healthy, and successful. This is not a woman, Your Honor, that had any reason to harm those innocent children. My request, Your Honor, is that the court would put her on a GPS if you feel that's required, and let the doctors continue to treat her. Let her go to Spalding Rehab. She will sign a waiver that allows probation at any time to speak with her treating physicians or social worker. Find out how she's doing. Does it look as though she's getting close to regaining the ability to walk? Well, she isn't, but nevertheless, they would be able to do that. And then the government would be notified, and they can come back in here again and try to hold her without bail. And my request would then be to Worcester for the emotional and the mental illness aspect. I don't think that it's fair or just or consistent with our duties to each other as human beings to put her in jail. I'm asking that she be allowed to continue with her medical treatment. Your Honor.
Commonwealth?
Your Honor, if I may, I did look into medical treatment if she's held. We were under the impression we had received information before that she could move her legs, but then we learned updated medical information that she, for the time being, is paralyzed from the waist down. If she is held, she could go to the Shattuck Hospital. If Shattuck does not have what she needs, she can be sent to another facility, and the corrections officers would go with her there. Shattuck would actually work with her, the doctors at the hospital she's currently at, to determine the best course of treatment. And if whatever she needs, she's going to get. But as defense counsel said, she is a danger to herself and, from the Commonwealth's perspective, others. And just because she is paralyzed does not mean she's not a flight risk. She will be in a wheelchair eventually, and she can be driven somewhere. She can be flown somewhere. It does not mean that she will never be able to leave this area.
Just would like to say that I'm sorry. Thank you. I have been, unfortunately, in the Shattuck Hospital. To suggest that she can get, quote, what she needs from the Shattuck Hospital is absolutely not true. The care that she's receiving at the hospital she's at now and the care that she would be receiving at the Spalding Rehab are light years ahead of the dismal, dank conditions of the Shattuck Hospital that we put our prisoners in. It's like something out of Iran, and that's not fair or correct.
Thank you both. Both of you, all of you who appear before me that will be litigating this case are all very well respected. And I'm sure at some point in time in Superior Court, this case will be tried in a very professional and very well by both sides. As counsel stated in Commonwealth v. Vasquez, the Supreme Judicial Court addressed the issue of bail in first-degree murder cases, and Justice Lowy issued a detailed decision about the issues in these types of cases. The court found that a defendant charged with first-degree murder has no right to bail, but may be admitted to bail in the discretion of the judge. The court ruled that a judge should consider the nature and circumstances of the offense and weigh the defendant's risk of flight in light of the strength or weaknesses of the Commonwealth's case and the potential penalty of a sentence to life in prison. The court further noted that appropriate considerations for a judge would include the defendant's family ties, financial resources, length of residence in the community, character, mental condition, record of conviction, appearances at court proceedings, or any previous flight to avoid prosecution or failure to appear at any court proceeding. It is important to note that the purpose of bail is not to impose punishment. The court has conducted a careful review of the details of the case and the defendant's history. The court's reviewed the filings that have been made, as well as letters submitted by counsel for the defendant and the update that was received from her attending trauma surgeon. The factual allegations in this case are both horrific and tragic. The potential penalty faced by the defendant, if convicted, is severe. The defendant has no criminal history. She does not even have a driving record. There is no evidence of any history of any abusive behavior by the defendant. The defendant was raised in New England and has extensive ties to the local area. She has an extremely supportive family. She had worked for several years in a local hospital, and a number of co-workers have written letters in support of the defendant and her character. She's described in these letters as an exemplary worker, colleague, and friend. In the letter submitted by her attending trauma surgeon, she has extensive injuries that will require long-term inpatient rehabilitation. Weighing what the doctor has written and the facts from the defendant's current condition, the court finds that there is minimal risk of flight given the defendant's circumstances. The court is going to make the following order on bail. The defendant shall remain in her current hospital until medically cleared to be moved to a new facility. As a condition of bail, the defendant is ordered not to leave the hospital until discharged to a new facility. The defendant shall provide notice to probation 48 hours in advance of any transfer to a different facility. Based on the letter of the doctor, it would appear likely that she would be sent from the hospital setting to a 24/7 rehabilitation facility, like the Spalding Rehab. As a condition of bail, if sent to a 24/7 rehabilitation facility, she is ordered to remain in that facility, with the exception of if she needed to be transported to a different medical facility or a hospital for an additional MRI or something like that. The defendant shall continue to receive mental health treatment while hospitalized and sign releases for probation to monitor compliance with counseling. In the event that the defendant were to complete the services at a 24/7 rehab and complete that care, the court would hold a further hearing as to whether or not the defendant were in need of further mental health treatment that would need to be done in an inpatient setting, or whether or not the defendant's mental health care could be provided in a residential setting. The court would direct court clinician, court doctor, to consult with the defendant's mental health providers to conduct this evaluation at the appropriate time in the future. If the defendant were in a position that she was going to be discharged to a residential setting, both sides would have the opportunity to be heard further. Any discharge in a residential setting, the defendant would be subject to home confinement with appropriate electronic monitoring to monitor home detention. There would be exclusions that would be available if the defendant needed to attend medical or rehabilitation appointments, counseling sessions, or religious worship sessions. The court would have probation visit any proposed residential setting prior to the defendant being discharged to that type of a setting to ensure that such a setting was appropriate and safe. The defendant is ordered to surrender her passport to probation. In the event that the defendant does not have a passport, she is prohibited from applying for a passport. The court is not going to set any monetary bail at this time.
Your Honor, would the court order that any such residential setting be in Massachusetts? I don't think we could do monitoring outside of the state.
If we get to that point, you may make that request. If it becomes an issue, we can deal with that. We clearly have the ability in Massachusetts to appropriately monitor. If for some reason, I know that there are relatives that live in Connecticut, if something like that were being requested, obviously the court would need to make sure that appropriate monitoring were in place, but both sides would have an opportunity to be heard regarding that request. request. The next step in this matter would be to schedule a probable cause hearing. Is there a date that the parties would like to suggest for that purpose?
How about May 2nd, Your Honor? It's going to take some time to
That is fine.
gather records. Thank you.
Obviously, I would believe that it would be highly probable that the Commonwealth would be proceeding by way of indictment to the grand jury. In the event that the defendant is indicted, counsel for the Commonwealth will notify Attorney Reddington and make appropriate scheduling for arraignment in Superior Court.
Very good.
There was a matter that I'm not sure if the parties need to address. There was an impoundment order as to a document that was signed by a previous judge. Do either of you wish to be heard on that?
I think by agreement at this point, we'd ask that all impoundment orders be extended and that defense counsel be allowed access to copies of the documents.
It appears that Judge Sullivan had issued an order specifically as to one document, and that order will remain in effect. It may be readdressed at the next court hearing. As far as what is in the, as it would relate to the doctor's report or any of the letters.
I don't have any request to impound the documents filed today, Judge.
Okay. That's fine. And obviously the documents submitted by the Commonwealth would become part of the court file, as would be the application complaint and documents that were attached to it submitted in support of the complaint. Here.
I want to, can you guys hear me okay? I do want to re-listen.
Yes, counsel for the defendant may sign the conditions of probation. The conditions of
I
probation
want
have
to
been
listen
read
to
to
the
the defendant.
prosecutor's side when they spoke. I want to hear what they have to
They're
say. So we're going to
clear
listen to that
issues
part
that can
once
be
we
addressed on
talk
a further
right here.
court date, but those will be the conditions that the defendant is subject to, and counsel can sign on her behalf.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Ma'am, on docket 2359 CR 153, the court has released you on conditions. You must remain in the hospital facility until medically cleared. You're not to leave unless discharged. You must submit notice to the probation department for if transferred from any facility. Must receive mental health counseling, sign releases for probation. The court notes a rehearing may occur if conditions change. Home confinement upon medical release. Allow visits, home visits by probation, and surrender a passport. And the previous impound order has been extended to the next date. Case will continue to May the 2nd, 2023 for probable cause.
May
Thank you
26th.
all very
Thank you,
much.
folks.
You've been listening to the arraignment of Duxbury mother Lindsay Clancy in the charges now official of murder, strangulation, and assault and battery on her 3 children, ages 5, 3, and 8 months. Prosecution spent most of the time laying out the history of Lindsay Clancy's mental state and the clarity, they say, of her mental state in the months and weeks and day leading up to the murders. They've been difficult to listen to, but I'll give you a little bit of what the prosecution said. First off, they said she was intubated in the hospital. They brought a whiteboard over. The first thing that Lindsay said to the attorney was, "Do I need a lawyer?" So the prosecution used that as state of mind, cognizant of what she had done. The way it lays out, 8 charges against her, outlining that she had no issues that day. She went to the pediatrician with her daughter. Nobody at the office, not the front desk, not the doctor, noticed anything about her behavior. Went on to stay with the kids, play with the kids that day. And the part they really honed in on was that they're saying Lindsay used Apple Maps to Google, to time out how long it would take to go to CVS, where she was going to send her husband Patrick to get some Miralax for the kids.
Oh, wow.
And then to get takeout at a restaurant called 3V, which was unusual because they don't usually go that far for dinner. She times it out. She asks her husband to please go run these errands. And that is when, according to prosecution, she killed her 3 kids. The husband, Patrick, returns and said the first thing he noticed was silence
Yes.
in the house. Went up to the bedroom, door was locked, goes in, blood on the floor, window open, goes around. A little bit of information we already knew. She was in the backyard, but she was conscious, and said, I tried to kill myself. And he asked, where are the kids? And she said, in the basement.
Oh, wow.
So after the paramedics arrived, Patrick goes to the basement. According to prosecution, that's where he found the 3 children who had exercise bands around
There
their
you go.
necks, and they called it ligature strangulation. And according to prosecution, it takes about 10 seconds to a minute to render someone unconscious with this type of strangulation, but then another 3, 4, 5 minutes before you actually end their life. So they pointed out that she had sufficient time to think about what she was doing and could have reversed her decision. The last thing that they said basically was that she created the situation using Apple Maps to make sure she had enough time to do what it is she wanted to do. And so they asked that she be held without bail.
Right, really calling this calculated. The day of the murder, she didn't take advantage of this situation. She used it to plan these murders, following the prosecution laying out what they believe happened on this day, especially really focusing in on her state of mind in the weeks and day of the murder. You had the defense attorney, Kevin Reddington, repeat what he told us last week, was that she was on a lot of drugs for.
Okay, hold on. Hold on. Okay, I want to see what you guys take a break from all of that, because he's going to say what we just listened to from the lawyer. What are your guys' thoughts? So it looked like it was the exercise bands that she used to strangle her children. So, couple of shocking things. I do want to listen to the prosecutor's side and what they brought, but we've been on here already 2 hours, you guys. So you let me know. I'm just gonna be honest, it's really hard for me to sit here for long periods of time. I have really bad knees and my back, I deal with back pain. So it's hard for me to sit here for long periods. So would it be okay if tomorrow we come back here and we listen just to the prosecution side? Because I really want to hear what he has to say. And then we can listen to the dispatch call. Can we do that? Would that be okay for you guys? If we meet here again tomorrow, we'll go through what the prosecution had to say, because it seems like she said a lot. We chimed in halfway through it, so we missed it. And then I do want to listen to the dispatch call with you guys. Would that be okay? Rose says that's okay with me. I want to see what everyone says. Sometimes it's the darkest place to be, in between your own ears. It looks like they also got her journal. I think that's what they were stating too. Again, I have to go back and re-listen to it. Angela says, sound good. So I'm thinking the same. Oh, and my dogs probably have to be let out. And I'm thinking around the same time, if that's okay with you guys, around 11 a.m. We can do this again tomorrow. So I'm going to just clip that part we missed, and then we will listen to the dispatch call. But I don't know, the whole thing about what do you guys think about her looking the distance the time it would take and the distance from that CVS and to get that takeout food? I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Rose says she made journal entries on her phone. Duke said, I think she had postpartum psychosis. I know, Lori. That's why I'm like, what do you guys think? ATS says, I still think postpartum psychosis. And I guess she had a pediatrics appointment with one of the children that morning. They're claiming she seemed okay, nothing out of the ordinary. We did hear something like the husband had asked her. I'm not sure. I got to go back and listen again. Was she feeling suicidal or something like that? She said, no, no more. But the whole thing with the searches kind of threw me off right there. I'm wondering if it threw you guys off a little bit. This case, no matter what you guys think, though, this case is completely heartbreaking because at the end of the day, there are 3 innocent lives who have been lost. And, you know, again, postpartum psychosis is a real thing. And of course, her side, her lawyer is, you know, pretty much stating that she was suffering from, you know, postpartum depression. She was overly medicated. And because of that, she shouldn't be held responsible for what she did during this time. Now, it seems like from the little snippet we listened to from, you know, the prosecution side, it seems like they're stating that she was only on, you know, a couple of medications and that she was doing just fine, going places and doing things. I think that's what they were trying to paint. Also, that this probably was premeditated is what I'm thinking they're trying to insinuate by those searches. Her looking up the CVS, the distance, the food takeout, how long will it take, and then she sends her husband. So let me just kind of digress all of this. I'm going to re-listen to it today. I'll clip that and then we'll listen to that tomorrow. I'll have my thoughts better in order. I'll take my notes and then we will listen to the dispatch call. I already took my notes and everything for the dispatch call with you guys and stuff like that. But I do want to just thank you guys for being here, for sharing your own stories. I know sometimes, you know, that takes a lot just to share your stories like that online. So I appreciate you guys. For the ones that have different opinions than mine, thank you for sharing your opinions. All opinions are always welcome. As long as you're respectful, I really don't care. And like I said, I never suffered from, I have children, but I've never suffered from postpartum depression or postpartum psychosis. I never even heard of that until this case. So when I heard of this case, I was like many. I just did not understand how someone could, who seemed like a loving mother, could hurt their children. I just couldn't grasp that. But all I did since then has been trying to educate myself as much as possible. And it's a real thing, psychosis. So the question is was Lindsay suffering from psychosis? Because if she was suffering from just postpartum depression and she was overly medicated, does that mean she should not be held accountable? ATS says there's also postpartum anxiety. Maria says, by all accounts, she was feeling well this day. Can you fake it if you're experiencing psychosis? Maria, and see, that's something I'm going to have to educate myself because I'm thinking the same thing. And not only that, who was it? I don't know what family member, but I read it on my last live. They stated they had spoken with her a week prior. She was fine. Everything seemed fine, you know, and so I'm wondering, could she fake it if she's going through psychosis? So I need to better educate myself with psychosis, that's for sure. But was she even suffering from psychosis? And something that the prosecution stated is that she never mentioned psychosis to any of her family members or anybody, or talked about ever with psychosis until she was in the hospital and she used, I believe they said, the doctor's phone. But that's the first time she ever mentioned psychosis. And here's the thing, Lindsay is a nurse, and not only just a nurse, she's a labor and delivery nurse. You would think Lindsay would know about postpartum depression and psychosis. So I don't know. Yeah, ATS, she says, seems like a longer paper trail of mental issues. Maybe she didn't know about psychosis. I'm going to have a hard time believing that just because she's a labor and delivery nurse. We've seen even that she seemed to really reach out. One thing I'm noticing, and we'll go over tomorrow, I have the screenshots, but she really utilized Facebook and groups and pages and stuff to ask questions if she didn't have answers. And I'm just not going to believe she did not know about psychosis. Not Lindsay, at least, not her. Maybe other women, like, I didn't know about it, but I have kids and I never heard of that. But I'm just, with her education background and everything, what she did, I don't know. I think she did. And ATS, would she be able to fake it though? Would she be able to, if she's in psychosis, would she be able to fake it so well where people thought she was okay? They didn't see any signs. One thing from that documentary I watched on psychosis, they had husbands on there, they had family members on there of women who went through psychosis. And one thing all of them have stated was they noticed when they started noticing signs of different behavior. They knew something was wrong, but they didn't know what psychosis was. They couldn't pinpoint what was going on, but they noticed a huge change. With Lindsay, based off of, I'm just going off of what I'm hearing now from what the prosecutor was saying, it seemed like she was okay. So I don't know, can you, if you're in psychosis, are you acting normal? And then you have, like, I don't know. I need to look more up before I can have better answers for you guys. I don't know. Yeah, Dukes, that's something else I've heard too. I heard they wanted to put her in treatment. Insurance wouldn't cover it. Hopefully this may save others. I don't know, but I think we can all agree this case is extremely sad, and it's just not black and white. So all I can do is just try to educate myself as much as possible with it. So, all right, you guys, I'm gonna let you guys go. I gotta let the doggy out. We will meet back here again at 11. We will talk about what was said in the courtroom, and we'll also listen to the dispatch call. So I will have my coffee ready for tomorrow. And hopefully you guys get back here. Again, if you're not getting alerts, just unsubscribe, resubscribe. And then if you guys on your way out, I truly, truly appreciate if you can just do me a favor and hit that like button. It does help the channel out. And like I said before, I really need as much help as I can get with my channel since I've been gone for 2 months. But I do appreciate whoever is here. The discussion is always good and educational. So thank you guys. Thank you guys for being respectful and being patient with me when I was trying to find the link. We work together here. So until tomorrow, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I will talk to you guys all soon. Bye, guys.